case. All right, so aloha everybody, and welcome to this information session on a new program that we're going to be piloting. Hi Pika, nice to see you. All right, so what we're going to be doing is talking about this program called the Faculty Advancement Network, or we're calling it the Fan Club. And basically, this is in response to various groups on our campus wanting to have a little bit more support for our junior faculty who are going through this crazy process of contract renewal and tenure and promotion. So this is what our information session is going to look like today. We're just going to do some quick introductions. Then we're going to go through why we're here, a general program overview of what to expect if you do decide to sign up for the fan club, and then we'll have Q&A, and then we'll give you some registration info if you want, if you're interested in signing up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is introductions. So what I'm going to stop sharing at this point, just so I can see everybody. So if we can just go around and maybe just say like your name, where you're at, like where you're teaching at. And when you think about, and then maybe like if you're going to be looking at your first or second contract renewal or your tenure and promotion in the upcoming year. Okay. And then the last thing, so 4 things. Okay. So name what you're working at, what contract renewal or tenure and promotion part you're in, journey, part of your journey you are in. And then when you think about contract renewals and tenure and promotion documents, what's one word that comes to mind? Okay. Does that sound okay? All right. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Erin Kanoilani Thompson. I'm a professor here and the coordinator for the Innovation Center. And luckily I don't have to do this anymore, but when I think back to what it was like, I think it was confusing. So that was a word that came to mind. I'm going to throw the ball over to Matt Igami, who can introduce himself too. He's one of our advisors.
All right, Matthew Igami. I'm the program coordinator for the Culinary Arts program here at Leeward on the Pu'uloa campus. I actually, this academic year, submitted for my promotion to associate professor, C4. So cross your fingers for me. And I think the word, when I think of like contract renewals and stuff, I don't know if it's a word, but it's like, ugh. I think that's kind of like the, ugh, really? That's kind of the word. It's just, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to consider. There's a lot to do. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to kind of try put this together, right? Is because we know it's a lot. So nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Matt. Go ahead and pick the next person, Matt.
Ooh, I'm gonna go to Pi'ikea then, because she's centered on my screen. I'm sorry, Pi'ikea.
Aloha, my name is Pi'ikea. I'm the Native Hawaiian counselor on campus. I'm at the rank of C5, so I don't need to submit these anymore, but we do have our 5-year reviews. When I think back on the process, to be honest, when I was initially submitting, it kind of felt torturous. I think I had my one and only panic attack when like for real, when I was submitting my C3 and I just like pushed it all down and I was like, I'm not losing my job. I got to turn this in. And now I think when I reflect back on it though, and probably my last 2 promotions, I feel like kind of a sense of pride, when you review like everything you've done and all the contributions you've made. And so I think reframing it was really important for me. What else did you say, Konoelani?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am going.
Or the word that you thought about it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I am going to pick Blayton.
Hi, does my mic work now? Okay, perfect. Hi, so I'm Blayton. I teach for engineering and technically physics as well. I'm going for my first contract renewal. So, uh, one thing to describe this, it seems very overwhelming, I think is the word I choose to, but I'm not too sure like well, I kind of have a general gist of like what I should put into my dossier and stuff like that, but not the details is a bit fuzzy for me. Cool.
Thank you, Clayton.
And then pick
You can
someone
choose
else.
anyone.
We can go with Lillian.
Thanks, Blayton. Hi, everybody. I'm Lillian. I am in the teacher education program. And next year, I'm submitting for tenure and promotion. So hopefully, my dossier is looked at and it's like, oh, yes, we want her. And the word that I think of is painstaking. Just making sure to collect everything and making sure everything is in there. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
By the way, is it your Lahano? Is it your birthday?
It will be on
The
Sunday.
25th.
Oh, yeah. And it was PE Cam's birthday this week too.
Oh,
We got beautiful birthday people.
Happy birthday.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday to both of
Let's say, Holy Lahanaw.
Oh, since Brittany is unmuted, sending it to you.
Thanks. Okay, my name is Brittany. I am also in the teacher education program. I am going up for my promotion also, tenure and promotion. And the one word I think, it's kind of nerve-wracking, right? Like this is like the one thing that I want to keep my job. I want to keep working at Leeward and doing all the great things that we're doing. So yeah, that would be my one word.
Okay, Brittany, can you see anybody to toss it to?
Oh yes, I'm gonna pick Selena.
Hi everyone, good to see you all. Mostly I know everyone, which is great. My name's Selena. I'm an instructor with the psychology department. I'm going to be up for my second contract renewal. Can you guys hear me? Because Brittany got paused. Oh, there, it's fixed. Never mind. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to be up for my second contract renewal in the fall. And if I could think of one word, I guess it would be like growth, because growth is hard but also satisfying. Yeah, I think it's just this grueling process and I don't like when I'm doing it. But like PEK has said, when I look back at what I've done, it's nice that it's compiled in this contract. And it's good when it's a process where you feel supported and like everyone's kind of on this growth mindset pathway to getting you to that place. And it doesn't feel like you're kind of in this council of judgment. So yeah. And then perhaps I'll go over to Mina Pearl.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mina Pearl Miguel. You can call me Pearl, like Pearl Harbor. It's my second contract renewal under Language Arts Division. I'm teaching Filipino. One word that would describe how I feel about the process, challenging. Is that, yeah, challenging and at the same time exciting to know the result because half of it you're scared if you're gonna be evicted or something or I don't know what are the chances of getting evicted because it's my second year, but hopefully I get renewed. So I joined the fan, so I get to know more information on how I'll be able to renew my contract and keep going. Thank you.
Thank you, Pearl.
I think next one is Siliman.
Hey, yeah, sure. Hey there. So I'm Amanda Silliman, and I'm an instructor with the Language Arts Department. And this would coming up would be my second contract renewal. And a word I would use to describe the process would be a little complex. There's a lot of new things you have to learn about the submission system, and then to figure out maybe how much is needed. And oh my goodness, the charts. I definitely needed more charts for my first one. But like taking a look at like everybody's samples and kind of figuring out like what it should look like. So the process is a little bit complex, I think. Am I the last one? Did
Yes.
anybody go yet?
So we'll go ahead and we'll throw it over to another one of our advisors, Kelly Kennedy. Thank you, Amanda.
Aloha kako. My name is Kelly, and I submitted my first contract renewal in 2018. And this past October, I submitted my promotion dossier to apply for C4. And I teach English as a second language in the Language Arts Division. I'm also teaching an education course through social sciences this semester. And one word I'd use to describe this process, I'll echo all the words you all said, and I'll add the word purposeful. I think when I was struggling to write my own documents, if I could just remember why am I doing this and try to communicate my purpose and remember my purpose as clearly as possible, that could help me kind of navigate through the challenges and just kind of take a deep breath and do what I needed to do. So I'm grateful to be here, and I look forward to getting to know all you better. Thank you.
Great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. So again, thank you so much for sharing and your honest thoughts about the process. One thing I want to say is, having gone through it over, more than 15 years and going through each of the levels, I don't want to say that it gets easier, but you do get more comfortable with your own skin and more comfortable in sharing your story as you go. So this is the hardest part. The first 4 years and navigating through it and just trying to wrap your mind around it, that is the hardest part. So thank you so much for hanging in there, and we're going to do our best to support you on this journey too. Okay, so what we're going to do though is we're going to start talking first about why we're here. So we're just going to do a real quick reflection exercise because, yes, this is an information session, but we're in education, so we got to do some reflection, and that's what it's all about. So what we want you to do, if you have like a piece of paper, just grab it real quickly, just a little scrap paper if you can, and a pen, and we're going to ask you to do like a 1-minute quick write. Okay, for the first question. Okay, so the first question is going to be, think about, why do you do this work? Okay, think about the work you do. I want you to get a pen out and just write, just free write. Why are you doing this work? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to time you folks. And I'll let you know when to stop. Why do you do this work? I should put music on. If any of my advisors like Kelly, Pika, or Matt are able to put some music on, that'd be great because I'm keeping my screen up. But if not, then quiet is fine too. So now that you folks have started to write a little bit about why you do this work, the next question is, why is that important? So look at what you wrote, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes and start writing. Just keep your pen to the paper. Why is that important? Don't lift the pen from the paper, even if you're not quite sure what to say. Go ahead and just write whatever comes to mind. Why do you do this work, and why is that important?
Noelani.
Mm, yeah.
So I put up some songs, but I don't know how to make it so the sound actually plays on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to do that.
Let me see. Oh yeah, because I'm sharing screen. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's
You like just sing for us, Pete. Yeah. You have an angel voice. Okay, we'll keep it quiet for now. Then.
I will spare everyone.
You got 30 more seconds. So finish up your thought. Okay, now I want you to take a look at what you wrote and ask yourself for 2 minutes, write down now why does that matter? So you first ask yourself, why do you do this work? Why is that important? And now look at what you've written so far, and we're going to go a little deeper. Why does that matter? And let's reflect on that for 2 minutes too. Okay, 30 seconds to wrap up your thought. Okay, now reflecting on what you've written so far, now ask yourself the question, why is that meaningful to you? When you look at what you've written, why is that meaningful to you? We'll do another 2 minutes. 30 seconds to wrap up your thought. All right. So now this is your last reflective question. So we've just been going deeper and deeper into our why. So that when you reflect on all the responses that you have had, what is underneath all of this? What is that underlying message? And go ahead and write that in. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to have you share your why. And we're just going to put you into pairs. So what we'll have you do is just in your group, your role as a presenter is just to share whatever you feel comfortable with sharing with. Maybe it's the underlying epiphany that's come to you or anything you want to share about your why that has surfaced from this brief writing exercise. And as a listener, your role is simply to be present, right? You just listen and acknowledge, right? And thank the person, right? And then once you do that, then you'll switch. So this will be really quick. This will be like maybe a couple minutes of sharing. So we're just going to put you into groups of 2 for maybe about 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. And then I'm going to put us into breakout rooms. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Maybe like 4 breakout rooms, or actually maybe 3. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, sorry, I'm just moving people around. Okay. So I'm going to open your rooms and then go ahead and just share with your partner. Advisors, you've been assigned to a room, but you don't have to go. It's up to you if you want to go. Okay. See everybody in about 5 minutes.
Probably some.
Sorry, I'm going to record.
Kalaway. So in our group, and I think a bunch of you probably, you're either thinking about this or maybe you discussed this. Brittany was saying, like, is there a template? Is there a specific way to write your dossier? And here's the challenge, right? There's a couple different pieces to that. The first piece is we really want to encourage like academic freedom and for you to be able to express yourself and really talk about yourself as an educator and a professional in the way that you want to do that. And so that's why it's really loose. Like, you have the guidelines of talking about, your primary duties, giving an introduction, giving your philosophy. I mean, you have to include those things, but for the most part, it's pretty loose. The challenge is that from division to division, there are different expectations. And I can give an example. When I was gonna submit for my C3 for tenure, I work in student services, and I'm kind of in a sort of unique classification in that I am support faculty. I'm not instructional, but I do teach. And then I do counseling. And I work with students in different capacities, both in the classroom as well as in support services. Anyway, so I remember I wrote my initial draft and I thought, okay, I'm gonna submit this to the division chair of math and science because I felt like that would be on the other side of the world from where I'm coming from in my area. And I thought I did a good job. And essentially when she gave it back to me, she basically told me it was trash. She didn't use those words, but she said literally, she's like, wow, this is really bad. That's what she said to me. And I was like, oh my God, like what, and then and this is interesting because as a Native Hawaiian counselor, she was like, all that cultural stuff, like you should take that out. You should, only focus on what you're doing and what you do individually. Like, don't talk about the people you work with. Don't talk about the center that you work in, and she was like just ripping everything apart, which don't get upset about people doing that because in their best efforts, they're trying to help you. They really are. Like, I don't think there's anybody that's going to read your stuff that's like, oh, I want to fire this person. I hate them. I want to get them out. Like, people are not like that. I mean, for the most part, people really want to support you. But remember that everybody's coming from a different perspective. So I took my my dossier and I was pretty disappointed. And I actually 2 weeks later, I went to a conference and I went to one of the breakout sessions, and the person who was talking, she was speaking, she was actually somebody who already had her C5, and she was a counselor, a very seasoned counselor at Windward CC. And I love her dearly. Her name is Hepua, and she was one of my mentors, and I just think she's fabulous, and she walks on water. But anyway, she read my stuff and she was like, this is great. And I was like, for real? She goes, yeah. She's like, you're the Native Hawaiian counselor. Of course, you're supposed to talk about culture. And you work in a center. Of course, you're supposed to talk about the work you do, but also how you do it and the people you do it with. Like, we need to understand all those things. And because she was also a counselor, she understood more the work that I did. And the mistake I made at the time, because I was green and I didn't understand, is that how do you have somebody who doesn't know anything about the work you do evaluate your work? Like my thinking about asking this particular person who meant well was incorrect because she doesn't know what I do and she couldn't speak to the effectiveness of my work. And to be quite frank, I don't think she would value that, right? Because in her mind, it was the people she is the division chair of, not the work I do, right? So, and I think at the time, I mean, program counselors were kind of new. To be honest, the first program counselor was Kanoilani and the second was me. So I think we're a very like new species among faculty members. And I don't know that people always knew like what to do with us or how to evaluate us, So that was really helpful to sort of compare apples to apples instead of apples to oranges. And I didn't realize that until afterwards. But having said that, every division is going to have different expectations. And so it might be important to talk to other people in your division and ask people at rank or higher rank than what you're applying for to kind of review some of your stuff. Certainly, there are dossiers you can read in the library, people who submitted theirs, who have successfully gotten promotions. But the bottom line is, you really, like in your na'o, right? Like in your gut, like you have to feel like this is how I want to represent myself. And certainly take the recommendations. I mean, my last C5, the one who saved me was also Kanoilani. She read my stuff. She gave me really important feedback. And it was helpful because she wasn't only at rank, but having been a counselor for so many years, she could really speak to like what my job was and what areas I needed to improve on in terms of the content. And Brittany, you're right. You're going to have your DPC read it, eventually like the TPRC when you go for promotions. And your document has to stand on its own. Like what you put in there has to describe and really tell the work that you do. Because here's the thing that happens to us all the time when we sit on these committees. It's like we know all the stuff they do, but because they didn't write it in the document, we can't comment on it. So you want to write your dossier like every single person who reads it has absolutely no idea what you do. And so I found like my dossier started getting longer and longer because I was explaining all the cultural components and why that was important. And then my job as a counselor and my job teaching, right? So it got longer and longer. And that's the other thing too. They say like some divisions don't want it long or whatever, but you know what? I'd rather err on the side of like not being super verbose and fluff, but like really putting like clear descriptions, right? Really being concise and clear. And sometimes that might mean you need to say more because you need people to understand what you do. Because you're selling yourself. That's kind of what you're doing. I hate to put it that way, but you're saying like, this is why you need to keep me. This is why you should give me a promotion.
Yeah. Excellent points. And that's a wonderful question, Brittany. And PK is one of those who has mentored so many people on campus as well as Matt and Kelly. So I think what you're going to find is in the fan club, as these questions come up, you're going to have a lot of people who have had extensive experience on TPRCs and DPCs that are going to give you a lot of advice and information based on their personal experience. So with that said, it's kind of like, we cannot guarantee that, okay, if you do everything we say, you're a guaranteed shoe-in, right? Okay, all we can do is peer-to-peer, want to support you, want to uplift you, and want to share what we've learned through the process and going through it ourselves. So with that said, as you folks come up with these kinds of questions, keep asking them, keep letting us know, because then this is going to be your safe space to ask anything that you need to. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of go into the fan club. Thank you again, Pi'ikea, for sharing your mana'o. Always so powerful, always so spot on. So for the fan club, for the Faculty Advancement Network, this is a pilot program. This is the first time we're doing something like this, and we're piloting it this spring. And if it works out, then we're going to offer it every spring. It's a peer-driven program, and it's a structured support program. Because like PK was saying, go to your divisions, seek out those senior faculty members, talk to your division chairs, figure out what is the norm. What's the normal when it comes to supporting these documents, right? Some of your divisions already offer like informal mentoring, right? Some of you folks already are connecting with senior faculty, and that's awesome. What this program is that it's peer driven, but it's structured support. So if you have no one else to go to, or you're not sure how to connect with people who aren't in your division to kind of get that other perspective, the ones who don't really know your work, so you make sure your document is speaking to those people as well, then that's what this program can offer you. So we're going to match you up with experienced reviewers. We're going to provide feedback for you on section drafts. And they'll be able to answer questions. Now, the four of us, so I kind of handpicked the advisors, Pi'ikea, Kelly, and Matt, because they represent different areas: CTE instruction, general ed instruction, and non-instructional faculty, but also because of their style of just really wanting to uplift people, really wanting to support junior faculty. All three of them already do that informally, and they are very well respected. And so that's why they are advisors for this. Now, in addition to advisors, you're going to have actual reviewers as well who are going to be looking at your document. So let me just kind of tell you the people. So again, I'm the coordinator and I'm also going to be one of the advisors. You met Matt, Kelly, and Pi'ikea. We have about 10 or 11 faculty reviewers who are ready to go to look at documents. And then you folks are important to this process as well. So this is what it's going to kind of look like for this semester. So in January, we're doing this info session. We're recruiting, we're putting the flyer out. It's not required to be at this info session to sign up, but it's good for you folks to get a little bit more information. So if you're interested, you can sign up for the fan club this January, so this month. Starting February, every participant is going to be assigned one of the four of us, and we'll be your fan advisor. And what we're going to do is we're going to have an intake interview. We want to get to know you. We want to find out what are your preferences, what are the stumbling blocks that you're coming across, a little bit about your personality, how do you respond to feedback, like those types of things. So we're going to get to know you. And then the four of us are going to come together and we're going to find out, we're going to match you folks up with reviewers. And we're going to probably around the end of February, maybe even beginning of March, we'll have some kind of orientation. And at that orientation is when you folks will find out who you're matched up with and you'll get to meet your reviewers. Okay. Then around March, that's when you folks are going to be writing and you're going to turn in your draft document. So the draft document will be due the week after spring break. Okay. So that's when your due dates are. And when we talk about it, it's not like you have to write your whole dossier. You're not going to turn in your whole thing. In fact, we're limiting it to the max you can turn in is 20 pages, double spaced, 12 point. Okay. So with that, knowing that you have that page limitation, again, this isn't to give you feedback on your whole document. It's to help you get started, especially if you've never done this before. So you can pick, like, do you want to do like your intro and philosophy sections and you want to turn that in? Or have you been struggling with your primary duty section and so you just want to turn in your primary duties, right? So you can pick and choose what part of your contract renewal or tenure dossier that you want to submit. So it'll be about 20 pages that we'll take, and then we'll have at least one, if not two, we may shoot for 2 reviewers to take a look at it to provide feedback for you. Okay, then in March and April, we'll probably try to put together a couple of mini workshops. Things like developing your teaching philosophy, if you haven't quite done it yet. If you've been in the AO program, we've gone through those kinds of workshops before, but AO folks can come back for a refresher, or if this is your first time and you want to like look at philosophy, you want to look at, just tips on contract renewals and dossiers, or we may even do, I'm thinking we'll probably do some kind of workshop on the electronic part of it, how to organize your files, how to make sure that the links are attached and they're working, so on the electronic submission part of it, we'll probably have like a mini workshop on that. April is going to be the month that your reviewers will meet with you and they'll give you helpful feedback. You folks can choose to meet in person or on Zoom. And then at the same time, then your fan advisor, so one of the 4 of us who was originally assigned to you, we're also going to do an exit interview with you just to kind of review the feedback you got, make sure you don't have any additional questions, or if you have additional questions, we can help you with that as well. So we'll just kind of close it up with you. The idea is getting you guys going this spring so that over summer, you're really primed to go. Because really you want to be writing all this stuff and finalizing things over the summer so that when fall, because it comes up really quick, right? It'll be like for tenure deadlines, it'll be the first Friday in October. So, I mean, that's really like just like a month when school starts and that's so busy. So we want you not to be stressed out and to kind of pace yourself over the summer. We may do a reunion meeting in September for all of us to come back together, just to do a check-in, right? To just do, okay, any final questions you folks have before your submission. And again, depending where you're at, if it's contract renewal, you might be submitting in November or January, depending on your funding type. So there's going to be different deadlines, but if we touch base in September, you'll be supported throughout that academic year. Okay. Any questions about the process or the timeline? I can't really see. No questions. Are we all good? Okay. All right. And let me go on to the next one. Okay.
Sorry, I just thought of one.
Yes, Lily.
Okay, so for those of us like that have gone through like the different contract renewals already, could the sections that we shared just be the ones that we're kind of like wanting to focus more on? Okay, perfect.
Absolutely, yeah. So you can share whatever you want to share, Lily. So whatever point, like, and like, say it's a really important section and it goes to 22 pages, then I'm sure we'll be fine with that. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that you get the support you need, but in general, we're trying to limit it so that it's manageable for our reviewers. It's not too stressful for the writers, so you don't feel like, oh my God, I got to write all this stuff to turn it. But it's really just to get us primed and really the other thing is to make connections, right? So to have people that you can talk to, that you can say, hey, I have questions about this. And again, a lot of you already have those wonderful connections, but especially after COVID, having like what used to be when everyone was here on campus and people could just talk down the halls, we have to make a little bit more of an effort to create those environments where people can really connect. So that's what this attempt is. Yeah. Any other questions? Thanks, Lily.
Sorry, I also have a question.
Yeah, Brittany.
So when we go through contract renewal 1 and 2, we get feedback, right, of like next steps or things that we should work on.
Yeah.
Is it like, do we have the opportunity to meet with our mentors and kind of share what that feedback is before we decide on what sections we might want to work on? So that we can get that feedback, so that that time that we use or the sections that we work on, I guess, are most, useful or beneficial.
Absolutely. That's an excellent question. And I would probably say when you meet with one of us as your fan advisors, maybe bring it up then. You can bring it up with
Okay.
us and we can kind of look through, okay, this is what it was. So, and then with us, you can kind of decide, yeah, maybe these are the sections you should focus on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. You can just shout out because I can't see everybody. If we're all good, are we all good? Okay, I'm just gonna move on. Okay, so if you haven't already, and if you're interested in signing up, you can use this QR code or go to go.hawaii.edu/D, small n, small v. Okay, and it'll be in the flyer as well. And what I'll do is I can also make this presentation available to you folks as well. But if you're interested, then go ahead and sign up. I think we're taking signups for the next week or so, like till the end of the month kind of thing, because then we want to get going in February. Okay. And I think that's just a thank you from there. So let me stop share. All right. Any other questions at this time? Let me check on the, hi Pearl, did you have a question, sweetie?
Yeah, the lecture dossier is still March 15 deadline this semester. I mean, yeah.
The
March
lecture
15.
dossier needed for, is it still March 15th? So I think it depends on your division. I can check because you're arts and humanities, yeah? Oh, no, you're language arts, yeah? Pearl.
Language arts, yeah.
Language arts. So if you're doing the lecture dossier, so that's going to be slightly different. If the lecture dossier evaluation process is a little bit different. So we can talk after if you want, but yeah. Every division is slightly different, but it's normally between March 15th to April 1st for lectures. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Are you a lecturer, Pearl?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So just to kind of, as a side note, our lecturer mentor group is actually going to have a lecture evaluation workshop on February 20th. So you can go to that one, and that one will help you to make sure that you have everything in line for when you got to do your submission. Okay.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? All right. If no other questions, thank you, Kelly, for putting everything in the chat and being my tech person. So if there's no other questions, then feel free to reach out to myself or Pika, Kelly, or Matt if you think of something after. Otherwise, we hope you sign up. Once you do, we're really going to try to do things in person as much as possible. We might not be able to, but we're going to attempt to, just because we feel very strongly about having those in-person connections to really build relationships. So when you do sign up, I'll send a confirmation and a when to meet, kind of like a doodle poll, but a when to meet to see what days and times are good for people. So we're going to try to do that as much as possible. But if we have to, then we'll do Zoom meetings as well. Okay. All right. Any other questions before we finish up? We're all good? All right. Well, thank you for spending your Friday with us. Mahalo again to Matt, to Pi'ikea, to Kelly for being here. Thank you all for coming as well. And we hope you have a wonderful Friday, okay? And have a great weekend. Have a nice weekend.